Yo, what's up, my fellow Viewman beings? Welcome to the Viewture. The Viewture is here. If you're wondering what the Viewture means, that is your view on the future. Yours and only yours. Nobody else can tell you what your view of the future is, so that's why we call it the Viewture. So from here on out, you're going to hear us referring to human beings. You're going to hear us referring to music. Everything is about your view on everything. First topic that we want to talk about today is new life after a divorce. Pretty sure some of you might be married, some of you might be thinking about marriage, some of you might even be divorced like myself. I used to have some metal right here on this finger and it's no longer there. That's definitely by far one of the most challenging times in my life that I've ever been through, to say the least. But I learned a lot while I was going through it as well. At first, when it was first going on, I thought it was just gonna crush me. I thought I was done. Like, I thought there would be no life after divorce. However, I've come to find out that it's the complete opposite. So in my opinion, it feels like divorce is like symbolic for a new life. It almost feels like I'm going through a second adolescent stage. Pretty sure some of you could think back to when you were a teenager. You went through this phase of feeling like whether or not you would be accepted by other people. You felt, if you were good enough or anything. You went through a rebellious stage, like just all types of mixed emotions that you went through. And that's exactly what it feels like when you're going through a divorce, or at least that's what it felt like for me. But when I started noticing that, I started taking advantage of the fact that I was given new life. So when I started to realize that I had to deal with the pain no matter what, because no one else but me, referring back to what I was saying about the Viewture, nobody else could view the future like I view it, just like no one else can view your future like you view it. So once I started to understand that I can make it through this, it was just a matter of how I perceived what I was going through. That's when things started to look up. So when I did actually start noticing these emotions, instead of suppressing them like some of us probably did when we were in our adolescent stage, fortunately I've been an adolescent already, and I know how good that didn't go when I suppressed those emotions. So this time I dealt with those emotions straight up. So when I was sad, I just let myself be sad. This is about having a good support system as well. You have to have people around you who are gonna let you be sad. One thing that you're gonna run into, people who care for you a lot, they don't like to see you in that position. So oftentimes you're gonna find people, it's gonna feel like they're trying to rush you through the process of getting over a divorce. And one thing you don't want to do is let anyone rush your emotions, because there's been many times where my closest loved ones, I'll be around and be like, Josh, you're not acting like yourself. I'm like, damn, don't you think I know that? Like, are you thinking I'm choosing to be down and sad like this? And that's not the case. Sometimes you just have to deal with that shit and be sad, and let the people around you know that you're gonna be sad, and let them move at your pace. You're gonna be angry, ready to tear some shit up, like that's to say the least. Just like, when I was a teenager as well, I went through this period when I just had intense rage, and like I didn't know where to direct it. But this time, now I got way more outlets now as a professional, as an adult, than I had when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I couldn't just hop in the car and go for a 2-hour drive. Well, I mean, I could, but there wasn't that much that I could do when I was a teenager to kind of go into my outlet. And plus, I hadn't fully discovered myself either. But now, I put a lot of energy into working out, get my physique right, put a lot of energy into my DJing. I made some dope ass mixtapes. Like when that divorce was fresh, I created some of my best fucking work. Like, believe it or not, we'll post links to those mixes later. Find me on Bandcamp, DJ Animosity. Check out that Trouble on My Mind mixtape. And when you listen to the intro, you can hear me speaking through all the little snippets that I put in that intro to tell you how I was feeling. All right, so I just got done talking about how post-divorce almost feels like a second adolescent stage. So obviously, when you're going through adolescence, it's like you're growing. So in my opinion, my view on this, my view of the future, is post-divorce, it does not have to end you at all. It can be the complete opposite, actually. It could be all about growth. Like I said, you learn a whole lot about yourself that you probably wouldn't have been forced in a position to have to learn had you not gone through something tragic. And they say most success and most triumph comes after some type of tragedy. So if you look at the most successful people in the world, people who've accomplished some type of greatness, it's always been preceded by some type of tragic event or something like that they've been able to overcome. And the important part is taking the lessons and the values from that event and applying them towards the future. So like I said, it's all about growth. Before we get out of here, we sent out a little survey for some of our Viewtube subscribers to send us some questions about how I feel, what my view is on post-divorce. One of the questions that I think is the most important is, do I feel freedom? Simple answer to that is yes, I do. Because even though no one, or you shouldn't, go into a marriage wanting to get divorced, at the same time, marriage requires so much compromise that it's almost inevitable that each person is going to give up a part of themselves in order to satisfy their partner. And hands down, that definitely happened a lot in my marriage. I'm not saying it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's a thing. And now that marriage is over and I'm coming into myself again, I feel a ton of freedom because I can wake up in the morning and I don't have to worry about, being this type of person that my wife wants me to be. I can just be me. And from now on, people are either going to accept that shit or they not. And if they don't, you just keep it moving. If you do, then, then I love you. I tell people that a lot. There's really no gray area with me. A lot of people either love me or they fucking hate me. So whichever side you're on, I don't give a damn. I hope you love me, but if you hate me, that's cool too. I won't take it personal. So yes, I do feel a ton of freedom. I'm pretty sure she feels a lot of freedom too. Another question is, what would I teach my son about marriage? I think that's a tough thing to do because I don't actually have, there's no way that I can be an example for him at this moment of what a marriage should be because I'm not actively involved in a marriage right now. So it's all gonna have to be based on my past experience and things that I remember, and just telling him like, look, when your mom and dad was married, these are the things that worked, these are the things that didn't work. So there's really not one solid answer that I can think of what I would tell my son about marriage in the future. Well, I would encourage him to not run from marriage or be discouraged about it just because of what happened to his mom and dad. I definitely would encourage him to go out and be the best man that he can be. And if you find a woman that you fall in love with and you feel like you cannot live without her for the rest of your life, go ahead and marry her. And whenever you need advice, I'm here for you, son. So that's it for this episode on the Viewturistic YouTube channel. Until next time, all my viewing beings, keep that future bright, and we'll holler at you later. Peace.